Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, worshippers of all ages, welcome to YouTube. My name is SeaRaptor, and it is way past time for more Scuttlebutt. This week's game in the background brought to you by Tier 9 Russian destroyer Udaloi. This game isn't ranked, guys. I was derping around recently. I was like, I need a game for a Scuttlebutt video. I'm just going to go click random ships in ranked, basically, until something interesting happens, and that's literally how this game came to be. Udaloi is a ship that I have not played a lot of in ranked. It's certainly not a ship that I'm terribly familiar with, but it is a ship that when I do take it out, I tend to enjoy it. This game is entertaining, so I hope you enjoy, and let's chat for a bit. So what's going on in Shooty Boats? Well, first thing, I want to talk real quick about kind of Twitch and YouTube updates here as it relates to Warships. We're into April now. You may have noticed last week was not very great on the YouTube channel for original content. I had a lot of Twitch stuff that last week because I was out of town for a few days. I'm back now, but April is going to be a very busy month around my house. We're in the middle of moving our home office from one room to another. We're rejiggering kind of the upstairs arrangement of our home in a variety of ways. There's going to be a lot of downtime for me. So what it means is streaming is probably going to be a little more sporadic in April than it has been for the last few months. What I'm hoping to do, what I believe to be the good news in this, is that my intention is to try and make up a little bit of that on YouTube. So here's hoping. It's not to say that I won't be streaming at all in April. It's just that normally my normal schedule is Tuesday, Thursday every week. I may have a week or two where that's a bit challenging because my desk is not assembled, or my PC is not together, or I'm in the middle of installing furniture or building furniture, installing monitors. I don't really know just yet. It's going to be a wild month in that regard. The good news is that by the time we get to about the third or fourth week of April, it should all be winding down. And that's good news because King of the Sea is coming, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, King of the Sea returns here on NA starting on Sunday, the 25th of April. Those dates have been announced. So, guys, I mean, Zath and I'll be back doing what we do, right? That's a thing. Do not believe for one instant that we're going to leave you guys hanging out there. King of the Sea's coming back. Signups, I expect them to announce signups very soon, guys. I'm not involved in that process anymore. I cannot give you a date. I have no idea. But the reality of the situation is that they got to be coming soon. So just stay frosty. Keep your eye on the web portal. That stuff has to all be happening very shortly. Speaking of things that are happening soon, patch 10.3 should also be happening soon. My expectation is that patch will probably arrive next week. Should be on or about the 14th of April. They may push it back a week. I don't know exactly, but somewhere in the next 10 to 12 days, I expect us to hit 10.3. So what does that mean? Well, it's been on PTS for a couple of weeks. So we've got a pretty good idea of what ought to be in this patch. We know it's going to involve the pre-release of the German destroyer split. That's absolutely coming. We know that there will be a new dockyard event for Tier 9 Premium German Destroyer ZF6. Now it's interesting because I did a preview video on ZF6 not terribly long ago. It's still available on the channel here if you want to go have a check. I'd have to go back and look to check the blogs to figure out what, if any, changes and updates they have made to it. But honestly, on paper, that ship actually looked somewhat interesting. So I'm actually genuinely curious to check her out and have a look at that ship as it starts to come to the live server. Looking forward to that. There are a variety of other changes in the patch. There always are. Some of the big ones that I think might take some people by surprise because they're not exactly spelled out like very well are module changes. When I went to PTS, I did play a few games on PTS not terribly long ago, looking into this stuff, and what I discovered was that some of these hulls are in the process of having really notable module changes. The ships in question are all listed out on the patch notes, or at least the dev blog that they posted about this, so you can go have a look. But it's curious. It feels like they're making some quality of life changes, and I think that's where this is going. Is that this is meant to be quality of life stuff for North Carolina and so on and so forth. But when you look at, like, for example, Tier 8 German destroyer Z23, she's losing access to the 150mm guns. Now that feels like a concession to the new destroyer line, which of course the new German destroyer line is based around the 150mm guns. So I'm assuming that the goal there is to not allow not allows not the word, not encourage players who want to play with those guns to stay with the old line. You want the new guns, hey, you got to take up the new hotness and try out the new ships. Okay, that makes sense. But it is going to change how Z53 plays, right? Because honestly, I particularly enjoy the 150mm guns on Z23, and now it looks like I'm going to lose those, which feels kind of bad. So yeah, we'll see what else shakes out of that. I'm curious to what else I might have missed. I certainly didn't do a comprehensive review, but there's definitely some of those changes coming to the live server very, very soon. Silly Alaska. Thought he could beat me. All right. What else is coming up? Some balance changes. This was a big surprise when they announced this to me. They're making some balance changes. That's not abnormal. They normally do this, but what is a little abnormal is the ships that they've chosen, because Wargaming has announced balance changes to Tier 10 Premium Russian Supercruiser Stalingrad and Tier 10 Premium British Battleship, HMS Thunder. Now, both of these ships are available. I call them premium ships. They're maybe more like freemium ships, right? Stalingrad's for steel. I think Thunder was for coal. That sounds correct. Anyway, historically, Wargaming has not made many changes to these ships. However, they did announce some time ago that they were going to reserve the opportunity to make changes, reserve the right to make changes to these kinds of ships that were not sold for cash or doubloons, in such a way that, if they were deemed to be detrimental to the game or whatever, they would reserve the right to tweak them. And here we're finally seeing them put that plan into action. So what's happening? Well, Stalingrad's getting a minor nerf to her radar duration, going from 30 seconds to 25. That kind of makes sense, right? The rest of the Russian, the heavy cruisers, like Petro and Moskva and stuff, don't really have radar of this duration. Well, I think Moskva does, but Petro certainly doesn't. So it kind of makes sense that they maybe start to bring this ship back into line a little bit. And then Thunder is just a straight up range nerf. Now, there's a lot of other things that I would change about Thunder, if I'm honest, right? I would not be looking at her range. I'd be looking at this ship's, her accuracy, for starters. But her accuracy is also kind of the defining aspect of the ship, so I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I think Thunderer needs more than just this. I'm glad to see them trying this, but I think she needs more. What else is going on? They're making some tweaks to the mid-tier Italian battleships. Basically, those ships have been in pre-release long enough now. They feel like they've got enough data. They're making some tweaks to those. Mostly quality of life stuff, a reload buff here or there, that kind of thing. And then there's a whole litany of changes to test ships. I'm not going to get into them here. I'll put the link down below. You guys can go scope that out and decide for yourselves whether or not you like where they're going with the test ships. But one of the things to remember, guys, I'll do a first look video. A ship will come into the live client. They'll develop some super test data, and after that, they'll start the balancing process of the ship. So it's very common for us to see changes to ships that are still in super testing, and that's basically where you're at right now. Now, they did announce some new ships on a recent dev blog that look, I believe they're coming to testing in 10.3, which means we'll have some first look videos on them as soon as they come into the live client, including Tier 8 Premium American Battleship USS Constellation. That's right. If you have ever looked at a Lexington-class aircraft carrier and gone, boy, that ship looks like a battlecruiser, you are 100% correct. And this has been the talk of many American warship history nerds, let's say, for quite some time. Where is my battlecruiser that was based on that Lexington was eventually converted into an aircraft carrier from a battlecruiser design? Where's my battlecruiser design? Well, it's finally coming. Wargaming is finally getting this to the live client, and that's coming in the form of Constellation here. So yeah, she'll be coming soon. Also going to get Tier 10 Premium British Destroyer HMS Druid. This is an interesting looking ship. I'm really curious to see where they go, because trying to think of the Daring. There we go. The name of the top tier British destroyer would not come. Daring is a really good little ship for a variety of modes, competitive modes, just derping around in randoms. They're going to have to make Druid really stand out somehow. Now, one of the ways they're doing that is she already has 5-inch guns. It may have escaped, unless you kind of dig down into the finer details of Daring, you might not realize she doesn't have 5-inch guns. She has like 4.5-inch guns or 4.1-inch guns or something like this. They're not 5-inch guns, but Daring does have 127mm guns, so that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out, because neither Jutland nor Daring have guns of this caliber at this tier for the Brits. We're going to get our first Italian supercruiser. What does that mean? Well, Venezia, for all her sins, is still based on 203mm guns. But the Wargaming is testing Tier 10 Premium Italian Cruiser Napoli, which will be based, I believe, on 305 or 200... No, it's 283mm guns, or something like this. They're like 11-inch guns. They're not 12-inch guns. So that will be coming to test as well. I'm really curious to see, because, we've seen how the Super Cruiser concept plays now quite well between, Alaska and Puerto Rico and Kronstadt and Stalingrad and Eiger and Izuma and Yoshino, or Azuma and Yoshino. And so now we're going to bring this concept to the Italians and SAP shells. That will be curious. We do have SAP shells in the game this large now, of course, on the Italian battleship line, but now you're going to try and give them kind of, cruiser reloads, or at least battle cruiser reloads. I didn't look at the data, but I expect her reload to be in the 20 to 22 second range, so we'll have to go see, how that shakes out and see how she goes in testing. And then last, we're getting something that I would never have predicted, and that is a Commonwealth battleship. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Tier 7 Premium Commonwealth battleship HMS Yukon will be coming to the game for testing in the not-too-distant future. That's going to be really interesting. Yukon is described as basically being built on a hull of Monarch, which, by the way, is not a ringing endorsement. Okay, let's be honest here. Monarch is arguably one of the worst Tier 8 ships in the entire game. And now you're going to take it and you're going to down tier it to Tier 7. What are you going to have to do to make this, shoehorn this ship into Tier 7? /skeptical. I'm highly skeptical of this ship. Let's just put it that way. But she will be coming for testing very, very soon. So yeah, guys, lots of interesting things going on in Shooty Boats. Like I said earlier, April's going to be a bit of a lighter streaming month. I'm going to try and make that up to you guys with some YouTube vids. It's pretty obvious by the list of ships that I just rattled off that we're going to have some things to look at from a first look perspective. And then I still owe you guys some more Little White Mouse reviews. I'm way behind in getting that done for a variety of reasons. I won't bore you with them here, but hopefully I can kind of get back on track and start filling in some of that backlog very, very soon. It's been a very productive month on Twitch, guys. I have managed to get my board gaming stuff kind of off the ground. I've done at least one full test stream, and we've done some proof of concept stuff, and it's coming together really nicely. I'm really excited to bring that to you guys very soon. If you're interested in that sort of thing. Hopefully you are. If you're not, I understand. It may not be for everybody, but rest assured you'll be seeing more of that around here soon enough. Anyway, guys, that's it. Pretty solid little game here in Udaloi. We took the win, and just, this ship continually surprises me, the things that you can get away with. I'm learning to really, really like her. Anyway, guys, be safe, wash your hands. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.